UDGE. Catch!
I'm a victim.
I'm a criminal.
We are victims. I'm lion.
Please pay attention. The audiences are asked to calm down. Before the trial begins, I appeal to the visitors to the trial to follow the proceedings in orderly manner. If you interfere with the course of the trial, in addition to being expelled from the courtroom, you can also be prosecuted legally. Well, today's trial on the plagiarism of the painting Beyond the Twilight by the defendant Hafizh Rajendra, I declare it open to the public. Well, the agenda of today's trial is to listen to the testimony from witnesses related to the crime that occurred.
For both the first and second witnesses, we ask the panel of judges will first ask about your identity. For the first witness, please answer according to your identity. What's your name?
I'm Aida, Your Honor.
Are you ready to be the first witness in today's trial?
Yes, I'm ready, Your Honor.
To the first witness, how did you first see the Beyond the Twilight?
I saw it at the Tree of Life exhibition a few months ago. It was very similar to a painting by a painter friend of mine called Beyond the Twilight.
Are you sure that the painting is not a mere coincidence?
I'm sure because I saw Neni painted the picture.
Thank you for the explanation. First witness, can explain the chronology again when you see Neni's painting clearly so that there is no misunderstanding.
So at the time, I was watching Neni painting, the painting Beyond the Twilight, at the house of my friend. Neni, whose address is in Kediri district. He asked for my advice to post on Instagram or TikTok only. She asked for advice on which social media platform so that his paintings could be famous. Finally, at the time, I advised her to post on Instagram only. Because if she promote on Instagram, it would be easier to spread to the wider community that on TikTok. After the painting was posted on Instagram, it turned out that the painting was not widespread. However, there was one man who commented on it with the word "quote." I encouraged Neni to keep her excited.
Then how can you know if the Twilight painting at the end of the pier was plagiarized by the defendant Hafizh?
At the time, I invited Neni to go to an exhibition that had been promoted to TikTok and entered my FYP. I invited Neni to see the exhibition, to see the paintings so that Neni can be excited again. Please focus on one of the paintings called Beyond the Twilight, created by defendant. The painting is very exact with Beyond the Twilight belonging to Neni. We were shocked and disappointed because the man had comment on Neni's painting post on Instagram.
Thank you for your testimony.
For the second witness, please answer according to your identity. Could you tell me what's your name?
Abi, Your Honor.
Are you ready to be the second witness in today's trial?
Ready, Your Honor.
Are you sure that the painting is not a mere coincidence?
As an art critic, I observe significant similarities between the original painting and the alleged copy, both in terms of composition and theme, and even small details such as brushwork and use of color.
Continuing the statement from Aida, do you see any difference between the two paintings?
Yes, Your Honor. There are some minor differences, but they are insignificant and do not change the essence of original painting.
Do you think that this painting that's suspected to be plagiarized is an original work or a copy of the original painting?
Based on my observation and analysis, I am of the opinion that this painting that's suspected to be the result of plagiarism is more of a copy or imitation of the original painting, rather than original work.
Thank you for your testimony.
Begin. All parties present are asked to occupy their places. This trial is about alleged plagiarism of artworks. We will listen to the indictment from judges 2 and 3 first. Please judge.
Thank you, Your Honor. We charge the defendant for copying the victim paintings and submitting copyright certificates that were proven to be fake.
Now, we will listen to the victim's statement. Please, victim, to provide an explanation.
Honor, I spent a lot of time creating this piece. I felt very disappointed. The defendant not only copied my work, but also claimed it as his own work by using a copyright certificate that turned out to be fake. I ask that justice be served.
Can you show any other evidence to support that the defendant actually looked at your paintings before creating his work?
Your Honor, I post a photo of my painting on Instagram after I finished painting it, and there it says the upload date. The defendant also posted a comment on my post, so the defendant clearly committed an act of plagiarism because the defendant clearly saw my painting and then made a painting that was similar to my work.
Your Honor, I have no intention of copying the victim's work. I overlooked at various artworks on social media, and there may happen to be similarities in style. I never intentionally copied the victim's painting. I don't even remember the comment I made on the post.
How can you say it was a coincidence? Your painting is very similar to mine. I cannot accept the coincidence. Excuse me, when the painting you made is almost exactly the same as mine, you've even seen my work before.
I admit there are similarities, but I don't intend to copy or steal. I'm inspired by many paintings, and it could be that they influence my work without me realizing it. It doesn't mean I'm stealing other people's ideas or works.
You used fake documents to claim copyright over the painting. You're trying to cover up your plagiarism with a fake certificate, and that's clearly unacceptable.
Certificate from a third party that I trusted. I didn't know that it was fake. I made a mistake, but there was no malice behind it. I just followed the procedure that I thought it was right.
Thanks for the explanation. Now, I invite the victim's lawyer to present his argument.
Your Honor, the defendant's painting is nearly identical to the victim's work. An expert confirmed the similarities are not coincidental. Additionally, the defendant submitted a fraudulent copyright certificate to cover up the plagiarism. We request appropriate legal action.
Your Honor, we don't dispute that there are similarities between the paintings, but it's not enough to declare plagiarism. Inspiration is not an offense, and the similarities could be coincidental. Regarding the fake certificate, the defendant didn't know it was fake and had followed the correct procedure without any malicious intent.
Your Honor, coincidence is not acceptable excuse. Do you believe the great similarity between these two paintings is just coincidence? We've already shown evidence of the exact same details. There is no room for coincidence. The fake certificate was an attempt to cover up plagiarism.
With respect, victim lawyers, visual similarities alone are not enough to infer plagiarism. Inspiration can come from unexpected source. Regarding the fake certificate, the defendant only followed the procedure provided by a third party he trusts.
The defendant's study is verify the authenticity of the submitted documents. Blaming the third party is not an excuse. Are you justifying the fake certificate as a procedural error? This is clearly copyright theft.
Your Honor, we are not defending theft. The defendant didn't intend to cheat or steal. There may be similarities, but no malicious intent has been proven. Convicting solely based on reasonable without strong evidence and without looking at intent could create a dangerous precedent.
Defendant's lawyer, don't beat around the bush. Art theft is not just a matter of intent. The evidence showed that the paintings were very similar and the certificate submitted by the defendants was proven to be fake.
I'd like to further ask the defendant lawyer. Did the defendant not feel that there was something wrong when he submitted a certificate that should have been further checked for authenticity? The existence of these forged documents shows gross negligence.
We admit that there were flaws in the verification of the documents, but the defendant didn't know that the documents were fake.
Verified the copyright certificate submitted by the defendant and found it to be fake. In addition, an art critic also confirmed the significant similarities between the victim's work and the defendant's painting.
Your Honor, with the evidence and expert testimonies, we urge the defendant to be held accountable. Plagiarism is serious and the fake certificate wasn't it. We request appropriate punishment.
Your Honor, although there was negligence in applying for the certificate, the defendant didn't intend to steal the victim's work. We request that the law be applied fairly because there was no bad intention from the defendant.
We have heard all the arguments and evidence. Based on the evidence presented, especially the striking similarities between the works of the victim and the defendant, as well as the fact that the copyright certificate submitted by the defendant was proven to be fake, we decided that the defendant had committed acts of plagiarism and fraud on the document. Defendant, after considering all the evidence and arguments we presented, we decide that you are proven guilty of plagiarism and misuse of a fake copyright certificate. Based on this, we impose penalties on you in the form of first, imprisonment for 1 year, considering the seriousness of the crime committed. Second, a fine of 50 million rupiahs as compensation for losses suffered by the victim and to overcome the impact of copyright infringement. Third, order to apologize publicly to the victim for these actions which have harmed the victim materially and psychologically. The trial now concluded. Hopefully, this decision will provide justice for the victim and also be a lesson for all parties about the importance of respecting artwork and copyright.